Support comes from Troy University's Trojan Cafe, offering handcrafted Starbucks beverages and a wide assortment of meal and snack options. Located on Troy University's Montgomery campus, across from the Rosa Parks Library and Museum.
From Troy Public Radio, this is In Focus, and I'm Carolyn Hutchison. Suzanna Rawlins is the research chair for the Alabama Genealogical Society. She is her family's historian and storyteller, and she shares tips on how you can become your family's storyteller as well. She joins us for our Genealogy in Your Genes, that's spelled Genes series. Suzanna, welcome to Troy Public Radio.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here with you today.
You will be participating in the fall seminar August 8th at Montevallo. So what's on the agenda?
I'm going to be talking about the difference between, in essence, being a genealogist and then being your family historian, because there is a huge difference between the two. I like to think it's where genealogy becomes an art. You know, you've got your birth date and your death date, but you're going beyond that. We're going to find out names, dates, locations, etc., and you're building out the branches of your family tree. Kind of generic. There's nothing there. You just got your names and your dates. But then you build on that, and this is where the art comes in, and you're fleshing out not just who was born, when and where and to whom, but you're taking that hard data and you're looking for the story. The data will tell you a story if you delve deeper, and that's what I'm going to talk to the attendees about in my program.
So how did you go from being a genealogist to your own family historian?
I think it's my innate sense of curiosity and looking at the documents. I am an analyst by profession and a data analyst at that. And part of my job is to take the data that we have and look at the story that the data tells you. You just look at documents a little bit differently and then think, oh, now I see where that correlation is, and you can begin to flesh out a story.
The title of your speech is Congratulations, You're the Family Historian. Now what? So give your listeners some tips on fleshing out that genealogy that you're talking about.
Oh, I'm happy to do that. So I inherited a couple of boxes of photographs that were from my grandfather. You know, they were from World War II. I had then another box of family photos. There's some names. You were trying to connect. Didn't know what to really do with it. And so I started with the box of family members first because that was a little bit easier. I could track my grandfather's service in World War II because he was at Okinawa, but I began with that family. And you look at the photographs, you begin to look at names, you notice locations. What does that photograph tell you? There's usually in a corner the photography area, you know, the photographer that took the picture. You begin by making the notes. Begin with what you know or what you think you know and ask those questions. And that helps you build out the tree because what's important is in your genealogy connecting your ancestors and their time frames that they lived and the locations, and then you're connecting that back to the history of the community, and then even at the broader level of, I'm going to say for the United States, because a lot of what I've done is just back to those that came over. Most of my ancestors were here in the 16th and 17th centuries. So that is taking that initial, maybe you got scrapbooks, I don't know, whatever you were given, and how do you begin to organize that and come up with a game plan to figure out who are these people to me and who are these people to my family story. And that's what I'm going to try to help them with on Saturday.
In thinking of your own family stories, did you come across any surprises?
I've got some unanswered questions and some stories of things that I don't have them fully fleshed out yet. I've learned some things about some ancestors where maybe I made some assumptions about what kind of individuals they were, and then data told me a little bit different. But it'll point to the stories, and you can kind of piece things together. So I did have an ancestor who was murdered, and I was able to get my hands on the coroner's report. And you read what other people said about your ancestor, and you begin to build the story out. And there were some surprising things in there that, you know, you had to sit for a minute and think, I wonder what it was like to be around him. Every time they come up with a new ancestor, I've got my fire and brimstone preachers. I have a Fosser. I have a pirate. It's just amazing. And I love the challenge. But when I learned about the pirate, my brother's in Kansas, and they just want to know, like, who are we connected? What did our ancestors do now? And I'm the family storyteller. So they'll say, well, what did you discover next? Well, guess what? This time I found one that did so and so, and they are fascinated. And I probably need to put it like in book form. And I think that's maybe the next thing for them. But they always, my nieces and nephew, think it's fascinating. And it makes history come alive. For a generation that's not into history, when you realize your family's part of it, you enjoy it more.
Well, on the website of the Alabama Genealogical Society is the AGS database, 600 surnames listed in the surname directory for Alabama ancestors. Then you also have the first families of Alabama, those who settled here, and the Loose Records Project. These are assembled from courthouse records. So we're talking about a huge help in becoming a family historian. And on August 8th, there will be a seminar of the Alabama Genealogical Society in Montevallo at American Village. Can you give us a preview?
We will be discussing not only the program that I'm giving on, you're the family historian, but there'll be a speaker that talks about genealogy and forensics, the counter spies in the Revolution, funeral practices within African American communities. It's a myriad of topics that we're going to cover, and hopefully there'll be something that tickles your fancy.
As you recounted becoming the family historian or storyteller, I can't think of anything more interesting to do during this 250th anniversary year of America's founding than to learn how to do this.
I totally agree. If you think about it, all of our families are part of the woven fabric of this country. We all contributed, and it's just kind of neat to see where in that tapestry of the history of the United States, where did we fit in? What did our ancestors take part of? And that's the part that's fascinating to me. So I love when I start building out the tree and going backwards at time. I will think about documenting their birth and their death dates and think about the historical events that went on. Like my grandmother, for example, was born in 1904. So I think about what she saw before she died in 1990. The automobile, the airplane. We went to the moon. We have microwaves. All of these things that are part of Americana that she saw in her lifetime. And it just fascinates me.
Give your listeners some advice. Where to start? It could seem overwhelming, but you make it seem doable.
It is. It is. Start with what you know. So make your list of questions. So you probably know your information, your parents, your grandparents. Start with what you know, flesh that out, ask your older generation family members, let them help you fill in the blanks. And once you have that, you can go, I would suggest for a free site, Family Search, for, overall bigger picture outside of Alabama, familysearch.org, because it's free. And then you can start looking at different records and start with the easy ones. Census records back to 1850 are pretty easy because you know locations, you have names, and you have dates. And so you can go backwards in time very easily. And then from those, you can look at somebody's, maybe an evolution of someone as they change through professions, because their professions are listed. Or where did they move? Why did they move? Or who were they with? Because the communities often stayed together and they intermarried, and it will unlock additional family lines that you maybe didn't know with. So it's like peeling away the layers of an onion, and then you'll connect dots and then stories start coming together.
It's your personal story, isn't it?
Exactly. And you've got those documents right there, and you're piecing together what that information is telling you, and then with a little bit of imagination and study of history, and then now you've got a story and you know where your family fit in to the founding of our nation.
Suzanna, thank you for a fascinating visit today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed talking to you today.
That was Suzanna Rawlins, Research Chair for the Alabama Genealogical Society. Their fall seminar is August 8th at American Village in Montevallo, and more information is at the algensoc.org website. Thanks for joining us today for the Genealogy in Your Genes series on In Focus, which is a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to get in touch at infocus@troy.edu. I'm Carolyn Hutchison, and this is listener-supported Troy Public Radio.